Hi everybody, thanks for joining me again for another Woolly Wednesday. Today we're going to do some Christmas projects, have a little poinsettia party. So if you're in the mood for a poinsettia party, stick with me. We're going to feature projects from my the Poinsettia Project pattern, where you can make a table runner. Here's the table runner, or a pillow, or a coaster. All those items are in the pattern. Today's coupon code, which will give you 30% off all the items that we talk about. Hi Nancy, how you doing today? Thanks for coming. Give you 30% off the things we're going to talk about today, plus there's a couple other things. The Rowdy Red 6-pack, the Forest 6-pack, so a lot of Christmas colors in the wool, and our Poinsettia Project pattern. Hi Suzanne, thanks for coming. Hi Mary, how's it going? So the coupon code is Christmas 30, and that is good for a week on all these items. Alright, so I'm going to show you the kits. So if you're interested in getting one, you can see what you get in the kit. So the kit to make the runner gets you the background fabric and the binding and the wool for the applique. So you can see here. Now the background fabric is a little bit different than the one I used, but it's very similar, and the finished product will look practically the same. But I just couldn't get that green batik anymore, so I have another bright green batik. And then you get two nice greens for your leaves, and three reds, and this one's kind of a pink to do the poinsettia. You just get more dimension if you use more colors. And a bright green and a yellow for the flower centers and the little buds on by the leaves. So that's the kit for the table runner. And then the kit for the pillow, so you can make the pillow like this. It has the wool for the background of the pillow, but you don't get the backing of the pillow in the kit, so you can do that with whatever you want. You do it with cotton. I do wool and cotton together all the time. So that, again, you get your green and your yellow and several reds, a couple of nice greens. I think it's an emerald and a grass green for the leaves. Hi Helen, nice to see you today. Thanks for coming. And then this is our cactus green that we use as the background for that. Or key lime would work, or any bright green you have. Or you could do it on white, would be pretty. Or any color you want to do on that background, if you just have your own wool scraps already and you don't need a kit. So those are those two kits, plus the pattern also has the directions to make the coaster. It's kind of a big coaster. It's kind of somewhere between a coaster and a hot pad. But maybe you've got a giant mug of cocoa or coffee when it's cold out, and you could set that on there. So you can also get the coaster kit separately. Just the kit for the coaster is $12. I also put on a special this week using that coupon code. You can get this set of wool thread. So forest green, rowdy red, sunshine yellow, and citrus green to make any of those projects, the runner or the table. So these are the colors of thread that would go with that. Okay, so we have all those together. And our prize drawing for this week is going to be a coaster kit. And this coaster kit comes with a recipe for a poinsettia cocktail. It's kind of fun. And you could even drink that in the summertime. So you get the kit to make the coaster and the thread kit. So we're going to give those away this week. So comment, like, share, and I want to let some of you ladies know. Some of you ladies that are sharing the video, I appreciate that. But I can't see who all of you are because your privacy settings are set so that I can't see who's sharing it. So I can't put you in the drawing if I can't see who you are. So if you're... Who won last week? I posted it in on the Facebook page, and now I can't think of her name. I don't know. We'll have to look back. Just a post I did this morning, so it's right there. Hi Kim, thanks for coming. Okay, I lost my track of thought. But okay, so we'll get you in the drawing for this week if you comment or like or share that I can see it. So if you think maybe it's you that's sharing and your privacy settings aren't allowing me to see who that is, then just like, or also like, maybe you are, I don't know. Just wanted to let you know. All right, let's move this stuff out of the way. And we're going to put together some poinsettias. So this is kind of do step by step of my wool applique procedure. And if you've seen this already and you got something better to do, then, you know, that's why I showed the coupon code early. So if you don't want to keep watching, you don't have to. But if you want to keep watching, maybe you're going to learn something that you didn't know. You never know what I think of to tell you. Oh, I want to show you a different version. Mary, who's watching, she's stitched this for me. So it's another version of the pillow, just done on a batik background instead of on wool. So isn't that pretty? You could do it on whatever you want. So if you weren't here yet when I showed the pillow, here's the one that you get with the kit. This is the pillow kit. And this is, you can still get the kit and use this green for something else if you want to put it on some other fabric. Because it's a pretty good deal to get 30% off on the kit. Alright, so there's our pillows out of the way. Alright, let's get started. I have a stitching demo I'm going to show you today. A stitch that's kind of pretty to go around all these petals, or other things too. So we're going to do a coral stitch after when we get there. And just remembered I didn't turn on my iron, so I'll turn on my iron. So I start with freezer paper. So if some ladies like to do a fusible web, I like to do freezer paper. So this is the kind of freezer paper I always get, and you can get this in my store. You can also just use freezer paper from your kitchen. That works fine too. So here's our pattern again. This is a pattern we're going to use. Oh, Helen, it says that you're a sharer, so thank you. I appreciate you sharing. Okay, so this is our pattern. We open it up, and we've got all of our, turn it right side up, all of our poinsettia petals in full color, so they're really easy to trace onto your paper. So I take my freezer paper, and it's shiny on one side and just paper matte on the other side, and I put that down. Pull this back so you guys can see what I'm doing. Put that down on my pattern. Now I'm going to do the coaster. So the coaster only needs the tiniest little leaf. The bigger ones are for the pillow and the runner, but the coaster just needs the little red one, and we need 7 of those. So I traced them onto, you see that? It's kind of hard to see. I traced them onto my freezer paper, onto the paper side. Okay. And then you just want to cut those out. You can see I try to get as many as I can on the paper. Should have done it darker. So I snug them up as much as I can, depending on the size of the wool I have. And I put them on here so that they're in sections. So I put all the leaves together because they're going to go on the red wool. And here I have the little circles for the yellow wool and the tiniest circles for the green wool, so that when I cut those out, it's just easier. I can just do it in a whole group. And depending on the size, maybe I just have a scrap of wool. So like my green piece is this big, and depending on what comes in your kit, you know, trace your shapes onto your paper so that they're gonna fit onto the wool you have. Then it's a lot easier. You don't have to cut out all the little tiny ones. So see, that's just gonna fit right on there. And I cut out my yellow ones to fit on my yellow piece. And I didn't really check to see if the red's gonna fit, so let's hope so. Fingers crossed. I have my 2 6-inch circles already cut out. You didn't want to sit there and watch me cut out circles. Let's see if my iron's hot. Because I don't know if you really need a demonstration on ironing. Who doesn't know how to do that? So my hot iron, shiny side down, because the shiny side of the freezer paper will stick to the wool. Oh, it's warmed up. Can you hear my steam? It's a little hot out for steam, but let's do a little bit here. Okay, press down my, I don't know if you can even see what I'm doing. I should pay attention to that. Okay, so line up my piece of paper with the templates on it, on top of the wool. Just a little steam. And then it just sticks right there so that we can cut them out. Got my red piece here. And lo and behold, it's going to fit on there. This up here. Line that up. Make it all the way to the edge so I don't waste any wool. We're going to give this a quick little press. If you don't press it enough, sometimes the paper starts to come off while you're cutting, and that's pretty annoying. So I'll give it a good long press. A couple little bursts of steam. Make sure that's good. There. Then we can just go ahead and cut those out, and it's just so much easier to cut out through the paper. You can use any old scissors for that. It doesn't have to be your good scissors through the paper. The paper just stabilizes that wool, so it's easy to cut them out. Alright, so I already have them all cut out. Like the magic of television, right? Magic of whatever this is. And you can see the freezer paper is on there. So now I can just pull it off. I'm going to take my 6-inch circle. And we are going to, not really sure how I did this, the skinniest part of our petal is going to go into the middle. What kind of iron? Oh, I love this iron. Okay, it's not cheap, I'll tell you that. It was spendy. It is a Euro Steam, okay, and it doesn't have temperature settings. And you'd think that it wouldn't. How can this work without temperature settings? But it's just always the same temperature. You can set the amount of steam you use, or you can not use any steam. And it's great. I iron all kinds of different fabrics. It's never burned anything. Like if I'm going to iron some polyester, I just don't use any steam. So it's great. The steam is great. It's a good iron, and I've had it for quite a while. I think it's going to last a long time. We do put distilled water in it, because that's what it says. But I really like it. Euro steam. Okay. Yeah, oh, the pointy. It is great for little things. I sew garments also, so it's nice. Or even if you're just ironing a blouse, so you can get into tight little spots. Yeah, it's a good iron. Okay, we'll put our, so these petals, where did I put my coaster? They kind of get layered into the middle. And you might think that it's getting a little too thick in there to put a mug on, but it doesn't. It works just fine because they overlap. I think I made them too big to put them on here without them overlapping. If you don't want them to overlap, you could trim them down a little bit, or when you trace your pattern, just don't trace it as big. I'm old enough that I have to get closer to see the tiny comments on the phone. Okay, there we go. Just kind of arrange them nicely. You don't have to worry so much about what it looks like in the middle, because that gets covered up with the little circles anyway. So we're just going to arrange them like that, but I'm not going to stitch them with them all down like that. So what I'm going to do, get out my stapler, my handy stapler, and I'm going to staple them on the outside edges because I want to be able to move them out of the way. I'll show you. I want to applique the bottom one first. Make sure that's not over the edge. So it'll just be easier to get to that bottom one if I can move them out of the way. So if you haven't seen me do this before, this is my favorite way of getting my applique on the background. It's with my stapler. There, staple down just on the outside. So when I go to stitch those inside pieces, I can move them out of the way to do the first one. And then I can just tuck them back down. And after I get that first one done, I can staple the second one on top of it and just kind of go around the circle with them. Show you how. Then they will just kind of fan. I'll do the bottom one and then stitch the next one and so on around the circle, and just kind of create a fan shape with the inside. It just makes it easier than trying to stop and start with your stitching all the time. That would be annoying. So that's all ready to go. I'm not going to stitch that right now. We'll do that later. But I want to show you the coral stitch. Oh, Mary, thank you. Mary, you know I'm clever. Sometimes I just think of stuff right now, right as I'm talking. All right, let's do a coral stitch. Where did I put my stuff? I don't have enough room here in my little space. All right, so I'm going to show you this coral stitch comes, you can find it lots of places. You could just Google it and there's going to be somebody showing you how to make it, or a picture, or, you know, embroidery stitches are easy to find online. But this is a very handy book to have, and sometimes you're stitching somewhere where you can't look it up. You know, I like to stitch when we're camping, don't always have internet. So this is, it's in my store. You know what? Because I'm talking about it, we better put it on the 30% off. So when I'm done here, I'll go do that. So if you want to get your hands on one of these this week, 30% off. I have like 5 or 6 of them left, so that's a good deal. So the coral stitch is on page 42. And just so you can see what great diagrams and instructions she has, and that it's on a spiral what do you call that? The spiral, so that you can open it up flat or put it back all the way. So it's a great book, and I'm going to show you this coral stitch. It's kind of fun. It creates a little bead on the outside edge of your stitching. I think you could even just use it as your applique stitch instead of going to all the work, spiral bound, thanks Mary, going to all the work of stitching it down and then going back and doing this embroidery stitch. I haven't tried it yet, but another thing I just thought of, why do it twice when we can do it once? So my little sample I'm going to stitch on, though, has already been stitched down. But when I'm done here, I'm going to try that, see if I can do it without stitching twice. Alright, I have a white thread, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Tie a knot in it, and I'm going to move the camera closer, angle it down so you can see. Gotta do it so I can see too. Okay. So we've got our threaded needle, and we're just gonna work up the edge. So you're gonna just come up from the bottom and go up about 1/4 inch, and that's, depending on the size you're doing, you could do it shorter and closer together. 1/4 inch, and then we're gonna come in. I hope you can see. We're going to come in, about 1/8 of an inch or so into our wool, and then take your thread, and it's going to go over the top of the needle and wrap around underneath. And then I'll just use my thumb to kind of hold it taut, hold it in place, and pull it through. You see that little loop it's forming? Bring my thread over here, and it creates a little knot. It's kind of like a little bead. I'm just going to come up, do it again. I went a little less than 1/4 inch and about 1/8 of an inch into my wool. I'm going to take that thread and go over the top of our needle and underneath. Hold it in place. There, and you just keep going along the edge, and it creates this little knot. But it's a very little knot with this thread, so I'm going to show you with pearl cotton how you get a bigger knot. So I've got some size 8 pearl cotton, and we'll do that one here. Come up underneath, bring our thread through, and we're going to go up 1/4 inch or so, go in about 1/8 of an inch, and wrap our thread over the top of the needle and down around underneath. And then pull. And then you can see we get this little knot here. Come up and do another one. Wrap our thread up over the top of the needle and down around underneath. Makes a little loop around your thread and pull it. Can you see the little knot we get? It's quite cute. It's a fun little addition. Fun little edging embroidery stitch. Okay, around our needle, over the top and underneath, and pull. So I'm not getting it too even. It's kind of awkward to stitch this way, but hopefully you get the idea. Okay, take a stitch, thread over the top of the needle and wrap it around underneath. Pull your needle through. There you go. Get this cute little, I don't know if it will focus on it so you can see the stitch. Later I'll do a quick little close-up video and post that, so I can do a close-up video and you can see it a little better. But all right, so now everybody can go do a fun new stitch, and don't forget to use your code Christmas30 this week for these items, plus our red and green 6-pack. And if you haven't liked or shared our video so that you can get in on the drawing for a coaster kit, the Poinsettia coaster kit and the threads. So thanks for joining me, and I hope I see everybody again next week. We have more Christmas things coming all month. We do a whole Christmas in July, and I'm not going to tell you what that is though. You're just going to have to wait and see. So I hope I see you next week. Have a great day. Have a great week, everybody. And it's really freaking hot here. I'm sure it is where everybody lives. It's kind of ridiculous this week. But stay safe. Drink a lot. Thanks, Suzanne, and thanks for joining me. Thanks, Kim. And take care. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.